Hi folks, my name is Chrissy, my business is Nimble Norfolk, and I repair furniture, specialising in hand caning furniture. This tutorial is to go over the basic 6-way weave, and the method I show here is the one that I was initially taught by working in pairs. I decided I'd do a little colour-coded frame just to try and help people, because I know that although there are lots of very good tutorials out there, both print and in video, it can be a bit tricky to follow along with it sometimes. The diagrams are just in black and white, and it can be difficult to follow where each strand is going, and the videos are often using real cane, which is all the same colour, and the same thing applies. So I hope you find this video useful. I am hoping to do some others using some different techniques in the future, so if you find this helpful, please feel free to give it a like, a comment, and share it around if you wish. For this demonstration, I'll be using this MDF frame. It's been laser cut from one big sheet, and it's got holes drilled all the way around the outside, just because it's going to be easier for me to demonstrate on something that fits on screen rather than on a real chair, and it will let me colour code each step. This has been edited from one longer real-time clip, so there'll be quite a lot of times of me stopping to rethread needles, and I think I've cut out all the times I dropped the frame, but I can't promise that, so we'll see. So this is the first vertical. It's in black thread, and you want it to be parallel, each step to be parallel. So this is just the first stage, setting things up, starting from the middle and working my way out. Simply, this is step 2, the second set of verticals. Working in pairs like this is how I was initially taught. So we're going to have grey thread going exactly where the black thread has been before. And this will be setting up our stage 2. Ideally, around this sort of time, you want to decide whether your first or second stage is going to be the left side of the pair or not. It doesn't matter so much right now, but in real life on real cane, it's something you should potentially bear in mind. There we go, 2 parallel sets of vertical strands. This is stage 3, the first horizontal. It doesn't matter which you choose, but at this point you've got to decide whether you're going to go over or under step 1 and step 2. So here I am going under grey and over black, and it doesn't matter if you're going left to right, right to left of the frame. Every time you're going to go under grey, over black. This sets you up for your next few stages. Fairly easy at this point, as long as you remember which one it is. Over, under is a phrase I commonly say to myself just to keep straight. And it means that when we come to the end, the grey strands, so step 2, will be to the left of the pair, and the black strands, step 1, will be on the right. This is stage 4, chosen yellow for this, and it's the second horizontal. Same as we did for stage 3, the white thread, going left to right, right to left, but we're doing the opposite, so we are going over the grey and under the black, all the way across. And the way this one's shaken out is that the yellow is above the white, so closer to the top of the frame. And same as before, doesn't matter whether you're going left to right, right to left, you are doing exactly the same. So always above the white and under the black, over the grey. As the weave progresses, you will notice that it gets less wobbly, for want of a better word. The horizontals and the verticals start behaving themselves, and that's because as you weave more strands through, it stops the other steps from wandering, shall we say. You will need to tighten or loosen areas in real cane as well. You'll also, I believe, there we go, dropped it, but I've salvaged it as well, so you know. What you can't hear in this re-recorded audio is the rulers making a nice twang noise every time. But there we go. This is step 5, the first set of diagonals, and I've chosen red for this. So I've started in the top right hand corner just because, and hopefully I'll be zooming in a second so we can see a bit closer what I'm trying to explain. The magic of technology. There we go. So with the diagonals we have to make another decision. So you can see where the 4 colours lock together. Where the yellow is over the grey, that's where we want to send our first diagonal in this case. So it's going to go over the black and grey, under the yellow and white, because what we want to happen is that right there, where it snugs into the corner. That is a good strand, and what I'll be showing you next is a wrong strand. There we go. So it's fighting that corner. So instead of lying nicely just under the yellow, held in place by the grey, it's now fighting the yellow and the grey, and it's, in real life the cane would probably snap. It would also be a pain, and it just doesn't look right. It goes all lumpy instead of nice and flat and smooth. So to demonstrate the right and proper way, here we go again. Under yellow and white, over black and grey, and you just do it all the way across until you get to your next opposite, and you want to go as far over as possible. This will make more sense when you get to larger pieces, but you want to travel as many over and under pairs of strands, like the horizontals and verticals, as you can to get to the next hole across. Because when you come to something like this, a corner, you'll notice that we're going to have a pair of diagonals in the hole to make sure we catch all of the rest of the grid. This is to make sure we don't have any lost or abandoned pairs that don't have a diagonal going underneath, to make sure the pattern is consistent, and also that's where the strength of it lies. Each individual strand is fairly strong, but the strength of the whole weave, to allow someone to sit on it for decades, is the way that every strand interlocks with every other strand. This is step 6, the last diagonal, and the last step of the main weaving. Although we made all the decisions in the previous steps, to make sure that we're weaving this last step, the blue one, correctly, we need to look at the pattern around it. So as before, we're going to do the opposite of what we did with the red, which means that wherever the red goes under a pair of horizontals, we want the blue to go over. But this now extends to what happens where the blue meets a floating red diagonal. If the previous step was to go under a horizontal or a vertical, where it's got the floating red one, the blue needs to do the opposite. So we'll see that when we zoom in a bit later on. But basically, we are going under the verticals and over the horizontals, which means that when the blue string crosses the floating red diagonal at where we meet the frame, it's going to go under the red on the right hand side, and it goes over the red at the bottom there. We're just coming to a corner, and you'll see now that we've switched a little bit. So because it's going under the verticals, it now needs to go over the X's at the top, and it will go under on the left hand side of the frame. Again, when we zoom in, it will be a bit easier to follow. But the basic premise is we do the opposite of what has happened before. I don't think there's any light relief of me dropping it in this one. And then this very last corner piece can be a bit tricky to follow, but again, when we zoom in at the end, it will all become clear, hopefully. Here's the finished frame. All 6 steps of the weave are done, and it looks nice and neat, and not quite exactly symmetrical, but it's all of a kind. There are X's all the way around the edge, which is a good indicator of a well-woven seat. And in each corner, you can see we've got the double diagonals. These are sometimes called fish eyes or fish heads or some other little nickname. But that's just how you deal with corners and in more complicated patterns where the short settings will be. Here is a close-up, so you can see at every intersection we have black and grey, yellow and white, red and blue, all going the same way in every instance.